History of my oldest ancestors of whom I am very proud descend. Don Pedro Fernandes de Castro, the one of war, my 22nd and 24th grandfather, father of Dona Inés de Castro, posthumous Queen of Portugal and cousin of King Dom Pedro I of Portugal, First Lord of Lemos, Castro Gerês and Soria, Lord of Interest and Estate of Mirandela and Aguiar de Pina, and Major Domo Mor of Castella, appointed by Afonso XI. Don Pedro Fernandes de Castro was the fifth grandfather of Pedro Álvares Cabral, discoverer of Brazil. Don Pedro Fernandes de Castro, the one of war, First Lord of Lemos, Castro Gerês and Soria, Lord of Interest and Estate of Mirandela and Aguiar de Pina, and Chief Steward of Castile, named by Alfonso XI, born in 1290 and died in June 1343. He was the son of Dom Fernán Ruiz de Castro, Lord of Lemos, and Dona Violanta Sánchez de Castella, Lady of Usuro, paternal grandson of Dom Esteban Fernandes de Castro, Lord of Lemos, Valladores, Villamartin and Caldelas, and Dona Aldonza Rodriguez de Leon, Lady of Villamartin, and maternal grandson of Don Sancho IV, the Brave, King of Castile, and Dona Maria Afonso Teles de Menezes. Don Pedro Fernandes de Castro was a descendant of Dom Afonso Henriquez, both paternally and maternally. Don Pedro Fernandes de Castro, the one of war, was a Galician nobleman, First Lord of Lemos, and father of Dom Fernando Ruiz de Castro Wall the Loyalty of Spain, third Count of Lemos, Trastamara, and Soria, and father of Dona Inés de Castro, the one who after her death was queen. After the death of his father, he was sent to Portugal, where he grew up with his first cousin, Infante Dom Pedro, future King Dom Pedro I of Portugal. Back in Galicia, he quickly became chief butler of the Castilian court. Family relationships. Don Pedro Fernandes de Castro was the son of Dom Fernán Ruiz de Castro, Lord of Lemos, and Dona Violanta Sánchez de Castella, Senhora de Usuro, my 23rd and 25th grandparents, illegitimate daughter of Sancho IV the Brave, King of Leon and Castella, and Dona Maria Afonso Teles Menezes, Senhora de Usuro, my 24th and 26th grandparents. Don Pedro Fernandes de Castro's timeline. In 1304, at the age of 14, after the death of his father, Dom Pedro was handed over by his mother to the care of Dom Lourenço Soares de Valladores, to protect him from the persecution of Fernando IV, King of Castile. Dom Lourenço took him to Portugal, where he was raised by his cousin, Dom Martin Gil de Riba de Vizela, Count of Barcelos, together with Infante Dom Pedro, future King Dom Pedro I of Portugal. In 1312, Dom Martin Gil died childless, leaving Dom Pedro the castle of Zagala and many other properties. In 1320, she returned to Galicia, where she received from her mother all the possessions to which she was entitled in Castile and Leon, as the daughter of Sancho IV the Brave, King of Leon and Castile, and as heiress of her husband, Dom Fernán Ruiz de Castro, Lord of Lemos. After the donation, his mother became a nun at the Monastery of the Holy Spirit in Salamanca. Don Pedro Fernandes de Castro was a rich man and one of the most powerful lords of Castile. He was Lord of Castro Gerês, Lemos, and Soria. He was Lord of Interest and Estate of Mirandela and Aguiar de Pina. In 1332, he became Major Domo Major of Castile, appointed by Afonso XI. Regarding the ancient weapons of the Castros that Don Pedro Fernandes de Castro used, the Lusitanian armorial states as follows. The weapons carried by Castros from the legitimate branch are, of gold, with 13 washes of blue, placed 3, 3, 3, 3 and 1. Tambra, a golden lion, outgoing, armed and lamped in blue. Family and descent. Don Pedro Fernandes de Castro married twice, the first to Dona Beatriz de Portugal, daughter of Dom Afonso de Portugal, Lord of Portaliga, and Dona Violanta Manuel, daughter of Manuel, King of Castile, with whom he had no children. His second marriage was to Dona Isabel Ponce das Asturias, daughter of Dom Pedro Ponce de Leo de Menezes, and Dona Sancha Gil de Braganca, with whom he had Dom Fernando Rodriguez de Castro, Count of Trastamara, married twice, the first with Joana Afonso de Castella, daughter of Afonso XI of Castile, and the second with Dona Leonor Enriquez. In addition to these marriages, he had a son, Dom Álvaro Pires de Castro, Lord of Alcacovas, with Dona Milia Goncalves, Lady of Assaquins. Dona Joana de Castro, Lady of Duenas and Ponferrada, married to Dom Diogo Fernandes de Haro and Pedro I degree of Castile. Outside of marriage and with Dona Oldonca Lorenzo de Valladolid, my 22nd and 24th grandmother, daughter of Dom Lorenzo Soares de Valladolid and Dona Sancha Nunes de Chassim, my 23rd and 25th grandparents, she had Dona Inés de Castro, posthumous Queen of Portugal, lover of Dom Pedro I, King of Portugal. Dom Álvaro Pires de Castro, my 21st and 23rd grandfather, 1st Count of Ariolos, 1st Count of Viana de Foz do Lima, 1st Constable of the Kingdom of Portugal and Mayor of Lisbon, married, in 1340, to Dona Maria Ponce de Leo, my 21st and 23rd grandmother, daughter of Dom Pedro Ponce de Leo and Dona Beatriz de Loria, my 22nd and 24th grandparents.